What's up guys, SkyKevin here, and today we're going over the news that Atlas will be renewing itself for a Season 4. It looks like they are attempting to resurrect the game with a new team and some plans to change up the dynamics of how the game works. So, let's get started.
Monster, how should I feel? Creatures lie here, looking through the window. Monster, how should I feel? Creatures lie here, looking through the window.
On June 15th, Atlas posted on their website some long-awaited news on the fate of the game. There hadn't been any form of communication from the developers or the community managers since a small patch introducing some bug fixes and fire arrows that was added on March 30th. Many believed the developers of Grapeshot Games had abandoned the game to work on the very successful Arc Genesis expansion, and after letting the player base die, decided they would leave Atlas to obscurity. This news was, for the most part, welcomed to the veteran fanbase of Atlas. Myself, along with many other players, had lost faith in any sort of updates or development that would ever happen again. In this short post titled, "News from the Cabin," they explained that they are growing the development team, introducing a new world map, and taking the NA PvE server offline. Additionally, they gave an open promise that they have new goals for supporting the game and delivering regular, dare we say monthly, content updates that will bring joy and piracy back to the open seas, with plans for trade winds, farms, warehouses, and more. Many of the PvE player base for NA was very upset about this happening, as they've put a lot of work and effort into the different buildings that they've built. However, I think it's safe to say that they're starting to realize that in order to keep the game populated, they need to condense their servers down, and I wouldn't be surprised if they moved Atlas to only having one large server that everyone plays off of, at least for the official servers. 3 days later, on June 18th, another announcement came out titled "News from the Cabin." In it, they introduced Cheese Me Beard as the new senior community manager, Nami as the new community manager, and Primus as the lead designer. Along with this, they released the new biome makeup of the world map. This, along with a leaked version of the world map, shows the tile makeup that the center maw will be surrounded by the Golden Age runes, then the lawless areas, and free ports on every corner. Finally, the outer tiles being the claimable islands. From this we can garner, they are looking to make the world map more condensed with only an 11 by 11 tile makeup, and they're trying to arrange it in a way that will allow for more PvP and less safe areas for players to run to when in combat. Additionally, if we look at the biome makeup, there will likely be a very interesting trade dynamic between the different tiles, as you will now have to rotate around the tiles in a circle in order to collect each of the types of resources. One thing that I noticed with some of the comments on the forums was the people complaining about the location of the east and west biomes. Everyone watching this video should be aware that the shape of the map has been modified to have biomes extend out from the center maw of the map, very similar to the way that a globe would, and this is why you see that the western tropics and eastern tropics are arranged in the way they are. Lastly, I think there might finally be an interesting trade dynamic now that they've limited the number of freeport tiles, making an option for trade more centralized. They end the second article off mentioning their new trade route system as well, which should introduce areas that companies can capture or take control of those water lanes, allowing for more PvP around these trade ships. I think along with these water lanes, the new team has realized that players want a game like Atlas to be when they're sailing their ships. And towards the end of Season 3, I noticed that sailing became pretty much non-existent. Most fights took place on the ground and never really amounted to much more than attacking enemy player bases directly. Control of the water really didn't matter because any farming was done by the players within the safety of their own island. I would predict, based on what the team has said so far, that they plan to introduce more automated systems to allow players less time spent gathering resources. Instead, they will have buildings like farms and warehouses that would be the quintessential way to gather resources for maybe the cost of gold as an upkeep. And while you're out at sea gathering that gold to fund the upkeep, these buildings would be producing the resources required to restock your ship. Overall, with the introduction of the new community managers, and especially the new lead developer, I think the Atlas community has been reinvigorated with hopes that this time around they will be treated with more respect than the previous team. I've recently checked the Atlas Discord as of making this video, and none of the newly introduced team members are on that Discord. Additionally, there are no posts or mentions of any of their personal social media to follow them. However, if I had a single piece of advice for Nami, Cheesemebeard, and especially anyone else on the dev team, it would be to avoid any examples of what Jet and Dolly, the previous lead and community manager, did, and focus on keeping the player base informed as to what's happening, and ensure that Primus and the rest of the dev team will devote 100% of their time and efforts into making Atlas a fantastic game for everyone in the future. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome to another Atlas stream. I'm Jesse Rapsack.
Hi guys, I'm Jet, the product manager and community lead at Great Patrol Luck and Atlas.
Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Eric Wananen. I'm the new lead game designer on Atlas. Really excited to be here today, and I'm looking forward to bringing a fresh perspective to Atlas and our future development.